What is up, guys? It's your boy Predator Gaming here, and today I'm going to show you the best Elden Ring rune farm, guys. This will get you millions of runes in under 30 minutes, so let's get it. First thing you're going to want to do, guys, go to the Palace Approach Ledge Road bonfire. Then you're going to run down, just start attacking these guys. They're super quick to kill, and they drop tons of runes. As you see, I already have 40,000 runes, but I can run down here, get these guys, and I will get even more. You could level up your character super far with this method, guys. Dad?
What you doing, little boy?
Dad, I'm just trying to make a video. What are you doing in my room?
I ain't your real dad, boy. I'm just piping your mom.
Whatever, just get out.
Nah, you gonna listen to me. How about you get out this basement, stop playing these damn video games, go outside and meet some bitches.
Dad, I'm just trying to relax. I don't do it that often, I swear.
Oh, really? Well, I don't see you doing anything else. Give me that damn controller.
No, Dad, give it back.
Boy, you better let go.
No, I just
beat your ass senseless.
No, I just want.
Disappointing ass boy. You 23 years old. Disappointing ass.
Gerbert.
Wake up in the morning, I got gaming on my mind. Then I hop up on the game with the boys.
There are two main things that self-improvement type people would attribute to the downfall of modern men. The first one is the hub. I've been over this before. Stop touching your worm, for the love of God. But the second is video games. Dissimilar to the hub, though, I would have a hard time saying that video games are axiomatically a bad thing. As an art form, they're actually kind of incredible. The amount of effort, time, skill, and intelligence it takes to make a good game is pretty astounding. But the fact still remains, it's an addiction that has undoubtedly taken a chokehold of young men today. And in some ways, it's actually worse than the hub because it's way more of a time suck. You know, under normal circumstances, a nut is only like a 10-minute endeavor. Unless you're edging, may God rest your soul. And you can only bust so many nuts per day. But for video games, I mean, if you were to add up all the time from Steam, from Flash games growing up, Xbox, Wii, PlayStation, mobile games, Clash of Clans, and especially like people playing the games on YouTube, watching them. Because when I was a kid, I did as much of that as I did actually playing the damn games. If you add all that up, you're looking at a crazy amount of time. And I'm inclined to agree that these things are kind of a big problem because at certain periods of my life where I've quit them, I've made big positive changes. But I also want to be nuanced about this because I see video games being used as kind of a boogeyman by a lot of people, especially by boomers, to say that, why are these kids just playing these video games? They just need to go outside and everything will be better. Just quit the video games, level up your real character in real life. Life is like a video game. While you're playing video games, there's a whole great world of opportunity out there. It's like, is there though? It all operates under the assumption that gaming is the root of the problem rather than being the symptom. The rampant gaming addiction and the youth being generally submerged in this escapism is not the actual problem. It's just indicative of a societal rot. Guys would have no problem not playing or at least moderating video games if they felt connected to a real cohesive community, if they actually had relationship prospects, if they had economic prospects and they were actually able to purchase and own property through normal means without having to yeet most of their income into crypto or individual stocks or find some weird goofy ass online side hustle navigating through a minefield of online grifters. If they grew up in a healthy family structure where they were socialized properly and weren't raised with this extremely addictive technology from a young age.
But oh, would you look at that? We don't have any of that shit. We either grow up with helicopter parents that shelter us, or no father figures at all. Either way, it leads to the same conclusion, with infinity at our fingertips. Both parents being tired from work, we usually come home not to a fun, well-connected community or energetic, attentive parents, but to an atomized neighborhood and our only real, reliable friend or guardian, the iPad. And upon growing up, we may come to a place where we have no real bros, no bread, no hose, and no hope. So we resort to escapism.
Netflix, talkies, and busty Asian woman. This is my kind of night.
So there's just a bunch of young guys walking around here. They watch anime, they beat off whether they are trying to stop or not. Their camera roll is full of memes rather than memories of people. Maybe they go to the gym, which is all right, but it's not really like it solves all their problems. You can find them walking around maladaptively daydreaming to the strokes. And of course, they play a lot of video games. So when you really ask why men are turning to these video games, you realize it's because men feel like they offer things that aren't accessible in the real world. And these feelings aren't completely unjustifiable. A sense of progression, competition, adventure, even community, because guys use games to socialize now. Progression is a big one. Skill trees, ranking up, leveling up your stats, finding better equipment, crafting better equipment. At least one of these systems will be a part of any game that a person could get addicted to, because it's this feeling of getting better, of working towards something and accomplishing it and getting your reward, your upgrade. When I played a lot of video games, I found games that had these things as well as a sense of exploration and adventure to be the most appealing to me. And I find it no coincidence that at these periods in my life, I felt like I was trying really hard without any results, and also just a general monotony and bland daily routine that I was getting bored of. No exploration, nothing new. So that's why I sought out these things in my escapism.
But there's no doubting that this is a cycle that reinforces itself. Even if these problems are real to begin with, continuing to play video games and submerge yourself in this escapism, it only makes it worse. Because think about all of those hours that you've used and you're still using. If you could take those and put it into something productive, you can make big changes in your life. And there are so many people that aren't trying. It's hard to remember that because this self-improvement gym culture is kind of like an echo chamber on the internet. It can seem like everybody's doing this stuff, but most people aren't. So if you just try and give up these bad habits, it can go a long way.
260 solo wins, hell yeah, let's go. Not bad considering I'm 41 years old and I don't build, so I think I've done pretty well to get to 260 considering I don't build. I'm happy with that. GG's only, let's go.
And it really is a bummer that for most of us this addiction starts when you're a very young kid, because when you're that young you don't really have the ability to think about delaying gratification or really being disciplined. Like so many kids would say their hobby is playing video games, but it's not like a natural thing that they were drawn to. It's just what offers the most stimulation. You know, the people who develop these games are smart to keep you playing. There are things that, that give you dopamine.
And when you're a kid, you are probably drawn to some things that are like actual hobbies and skills, and not just gaming. Like I like jumping on the trampoline and doing flips and stuff, and I wanted to learn how to play the guitar. And I actually got a guitar when I was like 10 or 11, but I barely touched it because video games offered so much more stimulation and progression. And when I would, play the guitar, it's hard. It's hard to learn. Your hands hurt from pressing on the chords and everything. It's like that with every skill. So I didn't bother because I got this same reward from just playing, Destiny or whatever it was at the time.
This is why the whole life is a game, level up your real character kind of thing is sort of just FUBU, because while I agree with the sentiment, there's something disingenuous about it. In a game, you're guaranteed results or rewards for your actions because that's the parameters of the programming. If you do A, you get B. Guaranteed, it's very clear cut. You also choose your difficulty, or there's a default difficulty with a set starting point or like skill-based matchmaking. And life ain't like that at all. We're all born under different circumstances with different genetics, so we're all pretty much born under different difficulties. You don't control your genetics, the place or culture you're born into, or your family situation. And I don't know if you've looked into it, but these are factors that are a big deal. They pretty much damn near determine your whole life. You could be born with some mental disability, you could be born without legs, you could be born French, you could be born with a micro. There are really people out here, it's rare, it's like 1 in 30,000 or something, but you could just be born with a little tiny little dick. It's one thing if you have like a 3-inch, 4-inch dick, whatever. You could probably make it work. There are dudes that are just born into this world, they didn't choose it, with a literal fucking bean as a penis, and they will never be able to please a woman. It's just an anatomical fact. So I don't know how these people are out here believing life is fair, life is your oyster or whatever, when you could, you know, some people are really out here born with little baby dicks. Life is not at all fair. Even games to a degree aren't fair because there's some RNG in most games, but it's all under constraint by the programming. In real life, there is no such constraint. In games, there is cohesive progress you can make, and in real life, there is no guarantee you will make progress even if you do the right thing, because there are way too many factors not in your control. Especially today for young men, it could seem like the whole system is rigged against them. Next time you get in your car, you could just get T-boned by some random alcoholic. It's not your fault. Now you're paralyzed from the waist down. Oh, you wanted to play for the NBA? Too bad. There goes your dream. You could play in the, I guess you could play in the handicap league. You could be fucking Shaquille O'Neal. That's kind of an extreme example, but the point is, in life, you can try hard, you could try your hardest and still fail. That shit happens all the time.
People are over here in easy or medium difficulty, like good IQ, good genetics, middle class, like not too spoiled, like just enough hardship to where they could feel like the underdog and still develop character. These people in easy mode are preaching to those on Ultra Nightmare, the kids with Asperger's and a micro, and it's like, dude, just don't give up, just keep on trying. It's like, you're playing two different fucking games.
But that's the thing. Life might not give you anything, even if you try. It might be getting more and more hopeless for young men. But video games will certainly give you nothing. You feel like it for a little bit, but reality will always catch up. It's not real progress. It's all an illusion. So that's why I'm stopping.
I'm a young guy. I would imagine I'm still speaking to mostly young guys. Even if you're like 26, you still have time. If you stop the addiction now, there are still so many hours you could use properly. And that's maybe why moderation is kind of a cope. Like maybe you should try to overcorrect a little bit from all those years growing up where you didn't have the capacity to really delay gratification. It's very easy to cope with this whole moderation 1 hour a day thing, when in actuality you're spending more time, and it's a slippery slope to spending more and more time, because if you're not satisfied with your life, these games will just suck you in more and more. Some people might think I'm reading too deep into this. I just play video games because they're relaxing and fun. I don't think so. I think it's definitely a method of escape from your life that you are not satisfied with. But yeah, whatever, dude, keep on coping. I believe you.
So is it easy to moderate video games? Should you moderate them? Should you completely quit them? There's been quite a bit of research done on what is called internet gaming disorder. A study on college gamers, when looking at their brains, found when they completely stopped, they get withdrawal symptoms. Only like 20% of college students who game didn't feel withdrawal symptoms after completely stopping.
Gaming addiction is a real thing. Multiple studies have found that brain responses to video game cues were similar to those with substance addiction. A follow-up study on elementary school students found that having signs of depression strongly predicts having a gaming disorder in the future, and also having a gaming disorder also predicts depression. It goes both ways.
Having a gaming disorder is a direct pipeline to having a gambling addiction, which makes sense with all these loot boxes and stuff.
And there's this other funny study I saw. Forced abstinence of gaming led people to the hub. So when Fortnite crashed for 24 hours, the hub's traffic went up by 10%, and the keyword Fortnite went up by 60%. So it's like there's a pipeline with all these kids from, you know, gaming straight to looking at people boning, or God forbid, you know, animated hentai.
But there is evidence to show this is not a super hard addiction to quit, because there's a study that shows brief abstinence, people who quit playing video games for like 48 hours, after that, a lot of their symptoms pretty much went away, and they found it way easier to pretty much stop playing or moderate. So this whole 1 hour per day thing, I would say there should be like at least a 3-day period each week where you just don't play at all. I think getting, you know, doing it every single day for a set amount of time isn't the right way to go about it. I would say completely stop playing video games if your life doesn't meet certain conditions. These are being financially independent and decently well off, having a good in real life social circle, being physically fit, things like this. If your life doesn't meet these requirements, you have no business joshing around. And what this means is that the people who are most reliant on video games to sort of regulate their mood and get them through the day, they're the people who would benefit the most from stopping completely. And that's why I'm gonna stop playing video games. Because being honest with myself at this stage in my life, they're less like leisure and more like an escape. Because there are things with my life that I'm deeply unsatisfied with. And using these as an escape doesn't solve anything, it just makes it worse. This is what the data shows. If they ever become a crutch, then you should stop. If you have everything right, then you could play video games. But the funny thing is, once you're in that position, you probably won't even want to. Unless they are just like a natural interest and hobby of yours, which is cool.
Sonic the Hedgehog, one of the greatest and most attractive characters ever thought up. He can run at sound speed, take out enemies in a flash, and best of all, he's blue-colored and knows how to handle the females. Speaking of females, the Sonic universe might also be classified as hot chick heaven because there's such a mess of very beautiful and tough women that it'll make you love the franchise even more. And since Valentine's Day is around the corner, I've been inspired to make a top 10 list of the most beautiful female Sonic characters. Grab yourself a snack and a glass of orange juice and try not to reach through the screen because here we go!